minimum wage is not fucking rising, why the fuck would rent be?
I got my lease renewal today, and they want to raise my rent. For reference, I pay $18.93 in total with them.
And who finna pay $2,000 for a one-bedroom? This is not New York.
Why are you raising it up every year and you ain't changed shit?
Rookie landlords or greedy landlords don't understand.
Y'all have tenants that's been consistent with y'all for years and years renting y'all property.
Our landlord said our rent was going up $200 for the next year.
Oh, my rent goes up when the lease renewal comes, and nothing about my living has changed.
Yeah. In less than a year, my family has experienced 3 rent increases.
Families cannot afford rent. Folks are priced out of buying a house.
Or they wanted to charge us $2,700 a month. Plus,
listen, it's almost never worth raising rent on a good tenant. Don't do it.
You have a master's degree.
I do.
And other education.
I do.
And you're out on the streets.
I am.
We need to fund rental assistance, transitional housing, permanent supporter housing, shelters, all this suite of services.
The rent with these owners is getting out of hand. They're increasing the rent drastically, like $200 to $300.
Even in like hood, you still paying for an efficiency of 1 bedroom. That's like $1,700.
Millions of families are already barely making it. One more rent increase could be the difference between staying afloat and losing everything. And that's where we are right now. If your rent haven't been increased, you are lucky. But if you live different area, a lot of people are feeling it right now. Rent is going to the roof. The wage is not keeping up, and people are putting more time to their work on their companies and not enjoying themselves. What kind of time we are right now? Are we just surviving, or we just living to pay bills? You guys let me know down below the comment. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe, comment, and share. And let's check out this video.
If minimum wage is not fucking rising, why the fuck would rent be? You hungry money motherfuckers want $2,000 for a 1 bedroom, 1 bath for what? And then on top of, and then $2,000, utilities not even included. You're paying all the utilities, so you're really paying around maybe $2,200 to $2,400 a month, depending what the fuck those companies are feeling like. Rent needs to go fucking down immediately. Nobody's getting paid enough to fucking make 3 times income for rent. All for the rent just to include a bad property manager, maybe a train station nearby, and maybe a few schools. And y'all just seen that this is the lowest job rates have been. Nobody can fucking get a job.
Living in apartments in Nashville is such a joke, and I'll tell you why. I got my lease renewal today, and they want to raise my rent. For reference, I pay $18.93 in total with amenities, parking, everything. They're raising it to $28.06. So base rent is going from $17.17 to $25.75, which is insane. It's like an 860 square foot unit. It has nice amenities, like I like the building, but I don't have concierge. It's not a luxury apartment building by any means. So what do you mean you want me to spend nearly $3,000 after utilities? Yeah, about $3,000 in rent to live. No, if I'm going to be spending $3,000 in rent, I will have a bigger unit in a better location with better amenities, which I know I can do, because God only knows like how many freaking buildings are they building in Nashville right now? Like 3 months free everywhere, basically. I didn't even get 3 months free, and they're raising my rent that much. That's what is blowing my ever-loving mind, because you really think I'm going to spend that much money in rent. When I moved in, I told them straight up, I'm moving because I want cheaper rent. I was paying $2,500, but my building was nicer. It had better amenities, floor to ceiling windows, all of those things, you know.
They just slid this lease renewal paper in my door, and who finna pay $2,000 for a one-bedroom? This is not New York. Who finna move over here? The president? Why did my rent go from $1,700 to $2,000? That's a $300 jump. Y'all were out of your mind. I was gonna be okay if they went up a little 50, a little twanky panky. Y'all gonna go on $300? Who finna pay $2,000 for a one-bedroom? It ain't like the toilet got its own dookie room. It ain't like the shower head is on top of the shower. Ain't got no rainforest shower head or nothing. It's carpet. Carpet in my room. Carpet. Who finna pay that for one? I don't know where I'm going, but I know I gotta get the hell up out of here. $2,000 for a one-bedroom, 800 square feet, and then it's carpet in the room. I'm finna call them because I know this gotta be a mistake. I'm already paying $1,700. I'm already paying $7. This gotta be a mistake. It has to be. They playing a joke on me. April Fools and September. I'm so pissed off. I'm stuttering. I ask every single month if I belong in this city because I don't think I can stay here. In less than a year, my family has experienced 3 rent increases. One of over $500. In total, in less than a year, of over $750. Not because the house got fixed. Corporate landlords are allowed to raise their rents without limits in the name of profit. That is wrong. You belong to these cities. You belong to Massachusetts. You are Massachusetts. So are you. Vote for rent control now.
Our landlord said our rent was going up $200 for the next year. And we said, how about it goes up just $100 instead? And he said, sure. Which then it's like, was it going up $200? Or that was just an idea you had? Because 100 is way less. And if it doesn't have to go up 200, it could go up 100, then it could also not go up. It'd be the same distance to not going up as it was going from 200 to 100. So it's confusing, trying to figure out what is going on.
Quick message to all my landlords out there. Listen, it's almost never worth raising rent on a good tenant. Don't do it. We're taking over a property right now because an out-of-state owner raised the rent on some solid tenants, and now he's losing them. Yes, taxes are going to go up. Insurance is going to go up. Your expenses as a landlord will go up. But if someone pays on time, takes care of your property, and communicates, man, pushing rent just because you can is how you create vacancies. And vacancy, repairs, and lost rent will cost you far more than that increase ever made you. Good tenants are an asset. Protect them at all costs. Hope this helps someone today. God bless.
Kathy Hochul is the reason why rents are so high in New York. Our utility bills are 70% higher than the national average. The landlord passes that on to you. The property taxes that the local governments have to charge because of unfunded state mandates, that's passed on to you. When I become governor, I'll lower utility rates, I'll lower taxes, and therefore I will lower the rent.
I just got a note from the office saying that my rent finna increase by $300 something. Like, bruh, that don't feel right, bruh. I thought when you get an increase in rent or whatever the fuck, I thought the shit supposed to be $50 to $100, but $300 something. And then them bitches had a nerve to attach the note with a motherfucking Christmas stocking with some fucking cookie dough. What the fuck, bitch? Like, I'm pissed. And I can't even fucking talk, bruh. I honestly see why people go 50-50. I see why people stay in fucking relationships just because of the fucking prices for the rent. I see why people go back to their mama or their grandma's house. I see. That shit right here would make you not even want to be here no more. What's the fucking point of living? If we gotta go through all of this, shit. I'm scared to die still though, but now I know suicidal stuff, but it's just, god damn, this shit will ruin your whole day.
You ever notice that every time you get ahead financially, they raise your rent? Have you noticed that as the median income rises, that the rents also increase? This is because these people don't just want a fair price for rent, they want everything that you've got.
And they need to make it illegal to raise the rent if ain't no changes been made to the apartment. Why are you raising it up every year and you ain't changed shit?
Can somebody explain to me how my rent goes up when the lease renewal comes and nothing about my living has changed? Nothing's been renovated, nothing's been updated. I'm not getting anything new. Also, my pay hasn't gone up, but you can jack my rent up hundreds of dollars. Make it make sense.
And it's to the landlords out there. Y'all have tenants that's been consistent with y'all for years and years renting y'all property. Y'all raised the rent because of the economy so y'all can be able to pay y'all taxes and mortgages. The tenant can no longer afford the rent, so they move out. You list the property and nobody can afford the rent that you're listing. So the property goes months and months and months without being occupied. And now you're losing double than what you could have been making, leaving that tenant at that price. With this economy, these landlords got to understand, like, they got to break even somehow. Because if nobody's going to rent these properties for what they asking for. And then if you list it to sell the property, you're going to be losing out on that, how the housing market is. Because you're going to be forced to sell your house for less than what it's worth because everybody then threw their house on the market. So you losing is a lose-lose regardless of what you do.
I just don't understand where these luxury apartment buildings get the audacity. We're going to be moving out of this apartment in about 2 weeks because they've substantially increased the rent on us since we've been living here. We're on our 3rd year right now, and we didn't renew for the 4th year. The first year we were here, they charged us $2,100 a month. The 4th year that we did not renew for, they wanted to charge us $2,700 a month. Plus, there's new parking fees that are $125 per parking spot. And on top of that, utilities used to be included, and now they're no longer included. So it's crazy how much more they're charging us. Basically, it's getting close to $1,000 more per month. And then on top of that, I went to go look to see if they had listed our apartment for sale or for rent. And they had, guess what they're going to be charging the new tenants? $1,950 for the same apartment we're living in right now. So a whole $150 less per month than we paid 3 years ago. Why would you want to kick us out after we've paid rent on time every month for 3 years? We've had no complaints to my knowledge from any of our neighbors. We haven't gotten in trouble with the leasing office a single time. Why would you want to force us out by increasing our rent that much and then charge the next person literally $1,000 less per month? It just does not make any sense.
The average person does make about $2,500 a month, which is like
That's rent. That's a
that's
one-bedroom
rent.
apartment.
Because most one bedrooms, even and people keep saying, well, you just gotta move neighborhoods. You may gotta move into a different city. But now, even in like hood, you still paying for an efficiency of one bedroom. That's like $1,700.
So I just feel like with the price of everything right now, especially the rent prices, I was just looking at this post of a guy who was paying 900. No, I think he was paying like 800 or 900 for a one bedroom in 2019. And that same one bedroom apartment is now $1,700. And I just think that's ridiculous. And I'm trying to figure out what is the end goal here, especially with AI. What is the end goal? Are things just going to keep increasing till people cannot afford anything? Is it going to be time for some sort of uprising, some sort of fight against this? I don't know. Just interesting.
Families cannot afford rent. Folks are priced out of buying a house. And Donald Trump is asked about the bipartisan housing bill yesterday, and he says it's so unimportant. He says it's so unimportant. And then he says, I made a lot of money with housing. The American people are not asking whether Donald Trump made a lot of money in housing. They are asking why they cannot afford it. They are asking why his economy sucks, why their prices are going up, and nobody in this Republican administration seems to give a damn.
Every time a good renter moves out, a landlord loses more money than they made raising the rent. Most of them know this, and most of them do it anyway.
It went from $785 to nearly $1,600 a month.
Your rent effectively doubled.
Yes.
Over, what, 7 years?
Yeah.
6 years, 7 years?
Yeah.
And your income presumably did not follow the same path over that period of time.
No, it did not go up at that rate at all.
In the Midwest, which is supposed to be the most affordable place in the country, the type of place that you can raise a family outside of the big cities and the surging prices, why is there a massive affordability crisis here when it comes to housing? Home prices in the Cleveland metro area have surged more than anywhere else in the country. And rent prices, they've gone right along with them. We sat down with Jolene. She was living in a sibling's basement, despite being in her 40s, having worked her entire career, really worked since she was 13 years old, and yet facing the reality of there were no other options.
I know a lot of single people that are my age and that still have to live at home or with roommates because it's not affordable to live on your own as a single person anymore. Like, you just can't swing it. You're told, work hard. You know, when you're growing up, get a job, work hard, and you'll get a house. It seems now that you can work hard, but you're going to keep working hard, and it doesn't really feel like you're getting ahead or that the payoff is worth it, really.
Driving around Parma, Ohio, and seeing starter homes at $300,000 is just different than, I don't know, how I grew up in Ohio.
Right. That was the real nice house that everyone would go in the neighborhood and go and check out was, the $300,000 house. And now that's literally, you're getting a 2-bedroom little condo looking house for that price with no yard. The Midwest was like the secret where you can not have to spend all of your money on mortgage and rent. You can live comfortably, and it's not that way anymore.
My rent is increasing by $94 a month. I'm currently at $2,142 a month that I pay, and it will be increasing to $2,236. And to make matters worse, because it couldn't just be the rent that's increasing, right? So it's time to renew my health insurance. My health insurance is increasing by $197 a month, you guys. So currently, every 2 weeks, I spend $81 to my insurance premium. So that's $162 a month. Y'all, why is it increasing to $179.50 every single time I get paid? And I get paid bi-weekly. That's $359 a month. So all in all, my monthly expenses are about to increase by $291. That is crazy. And unfortunately, yes, I'm complaining about it, but I have to come up with a plan to account for damn near $300. So here's my game plan. I'm going to switch from T-Mobile to Mint Mobile, and that should save me hopefully about $85 a month. I'm currently spending $100 on my phone bill. I can get that down to $15 a month. I'm also canceling some subscriptions. So I did cancel 2, and that's going to give me $20 extra a month. So we're at $100, okay? We're at $100 so far. And last but not least, I think it's time for me to start shopping around for other car insurances to see if I can get cheaper rates. Right now, I pay my car insurance every 6 months, and for 2 cars, I spend about $1,700 every 6 months. I'm gonna see if I can get that number closer to $1,500. And outside of that, I just won't be able to invest as much as I would like to. That means I'm gonna continue working overtime because investing right now is a priority for me. But this is a blower.
Georgia needs to impose some sort of rent control legislation because the rent with these owners is getting out of hand. They're increasing the rent drastically, like $200 to $300 every year. One year it got so bad we had to negotiate so to the point where the owner had to come down. Now this last lease, he didn't even budge, so we're deciding to move because we already know he's going to go up another $200 or $300. And this place just isn't worth that. And we know quite a few people who are going through this where the rent is just increasing drastically. That's why we are on the trajectory to, buy us a home, because thousands and thousands spent on someone else's mortgage is just it's out of hand. It's convenient, for sure. But I'd rather own my own home at this point, because it just makes no sense. Like, they really need to impose rent control here in Georgia. It's insane.
We need housing, not handcuffs. We have a housing crisis in this country. Every time the rent goes up $100, homelessness goes up 9%. Let me say it one more time. Every time the rent goes up $100, homelessness goes up 9%. Homelessness is a housing problem. And you have no solutions for us here. You're talking about, again, trying to hide a problem rather than fix a problem. It is both cheaper and less challenging for us as a nation to keep people housed than, yes, to help them when they're on the streets. We need to help people when they're on the streets, but we need to fund rental assistance, transitional housing, permanent supporter housing, shelters, all this suite of services that help us keep our people on top of a certain line, because it does cost more and it is harder, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. And the president that you follow and that you are lauding wants to make a historic cut to the few services that we have so we can keep people from off the streets. And I think it's despicable. And you come here and try to act like there's a problem with us because we have a problem with you working to criminalize homelessness. People see beyond
it's
that.
already criminal. The DC city police are not enforcing it. So what do you want us to do?
The tool you want to give federal law enforcement is allow them to go and arrest people who are sleeping on the streets because they have nowhere else to sleep. We shouldn't be criminalizing homeless people for the failures of government. Let's step up. Let's try to work together and ensure that we eradicate homelessness and fix this housing crisis.
Never raise rent on your tenants. I've been a landlord for about 8 years. I have 84 rentals, and to this day, in 8 years, I've never raised rent on my tenants. On a current tenant, I've never raised rent. And the reason why is, number one, it's hard to get good tenants. If you have a good tenant, leave them alone. Be grateful for them, right? They pay their rent on time. Be grateful for them. Leave them alone. Number two, people don't understand. Like, rookie landlords or greedy landlords don't understand. The biggest way to lose money as a landlord is vacancies and repairs. What happens when a tenant moves out? You have a vacancy and you have repairs, right? You have to go and do the floor or the carpet. You have to go clean it. There's always things broken, sometimes appliances. You definitely have to paint it. And now it's empty for 2 months, right? 1 month to rehab it and 1 month to get it rented. So don't raise your rent on your tenants. You don't have to raise rent on tenants. That's a greedy landlord mistake. In 8 years, I've never raised rent on my tenants. And guess what? My tenants are always grateful for me. They pay rent. And we have a lot of tenants that have stayed with us 3, 4, 5 years because we don't raise rent on them. I mean, so that's one of the things of reasons why they stay. I had a long-term tenant the other day ask what his rent was going up to. And I said, nope, same thing. We're going to keep it the same as it's been the last 4 years. And he's like, wow, that's amazing. Thank you.
As someone who fought against their landlord in court, you will never see me siding with a landlord or arguing against a rent freeze. I remember at one point between leases before we re-signed into her house, she had sent me a text message that said, hey, sorry, I have to raise rent this year because my daughter's going to college. Nothing to do with the housing market or increase in demand or anything like that. Just straight up, my daughter's going to college and I need a way to pay for it. And living in a college town that had a severe housing crisis, I was like, I don't even know what to do. So I negotiated back and forth with her and reminded her that in California, you can only raise the rent a maximum of 10% between leases. And we ended up negotiating to a price that was reasonable for everyone. And after our final lease was up, she tried to sue us for $10,000 to basically just remodel her house. And at one point threatened one of our housemates, who is an international student, that she was going to contact the dean to try to revoke his student visa. So, of course, once it finally got to the time where we were battling in court and I brought out all of these receipts, the mediator in the courtroom was just like, are you serious? Like, you just can't do that. So long story short, yeah, I'm pro rent freeze and pro tenant protection laws. And I have yet to see a valid argument against a rent freeze.
You have a master's degree.
I do.
And other education.
I do.
And you're out on the streets.
I am.
That totally shatters most stereotypes. People think people out here are here because their own choice and they're uneducated, and here you are with a master's degree and you're sleeping outside?
Well, that's because, excuse me, I really think it's because of, the politics of our state, and our culture here in Charlotte, in North Carolina. If I had been paid commensurate to my credentials, and my experience, I probably would not have been in a situation where I lost my apartment. I was working in mental health and I wasn't being paid correctly, and thus I was not able to make my rent.
So I just got home and this note was taped to my door, and I'm kind of scared to open it because it says rent notice, which probably means my rent is about to increase. And not to sound dramatic, but the inside of this note is about to determine the fate of my future, because if they keep my rent the same, I would highly consider staying in West Palm Beach for another year. But if they raise it by over $100, I'm 100% moving to either Miami or New York. My current rent is $4,200 a month, so if they raise it to more than $4,300 a month, I'm 100% out of here. But let's see. Congratulations on your upcoming anniversary with us, and thank you for being a valued resident in our community. As a valued resident, we'd like to show our appreciation by offering you an early renewal discount. If I'm so valued, why the fuck would you raise my rent? My current rent's $41.90. If I renew with the early special, they are raising it to $4,602. And if I don't sign within the month, they're raising it to $4,732 a month. Bro, that is fucking crazy. I was thinking maybe $200 to $300. That would typically be in line with inflation, right? 3 to 4%. $4,600 from 42 is a 10% increase. Okay, since my landlord wants to play games, we're gonna play a little game called Move Out. The apartment hunt is back on in full swing, and I know I showed you guys Fort Lauderdale a little bit the last couple weeks, but I don't think that's on the table anymore. I'm really thinking about Miami or New York, so I'm gonna go to both destinations, set up a couple tours, and bring you guys along with me, and we're gonna find a new place, baby.
I need a second here, okay? I need a second here because I saw something that made me mad. And then I thought about it, and then I looked it up, and now I'm like blind with rage. There was this lady who wrote an opinion for the Wall Street Journal being like, why is Gen Z so pessimistic? Every generation has it bad. And I started thinking about when I was Gen Z's age, because I have this thing called empathy. I know that billionaires fucking hate it, and they say that empathy is toxic and you shouldn't have that, and it's suicidal to be picturing yourself in the shoes of other people. But I was once in my mid-20s. I remember how much shit cost in my mid-20s. I'm in my 40s now. So I went and I looked up an apartment that I remembered having in 2009. I looked it up because I remember that rent. I remember that shit's burned into my head. I remember fighting with my roommates about that rent because sometimes they didn't have it. 2-bedroom apartment, just over 1,000 square feet. Nice part of town, nice building. Guess how much that rent was? It was $800 a month. It was $800 a month for a 2-bedroom. That means the share was $400 for a room. $400 for a room in a nice town in Pennsylvania. I looked it up. I went on Zillow because Zillow fuck you up. I looked it up. I said, how much in that apartment complex? I went and I found it. I couldn't remember the address, but I remember the map. I found it. I scrolled through all the pictures. I go, that's the same fucking apartment. They haven't updated shit. That's the same oven. I remember that oven. I burnt DiGiorno in that oven. Guess how much my $800 apartment is now? My $800 2-bedroom apartment today? $2,400. What the fuck? We 3x'd it 3 times. That means if you divide it out, that one room I was paying $400 for, if I was to go move back into that bitch, that one room would cost me $1,200, $1,200. Here's the bitch that gets me the most, though, because she was going on, oh, Gen Z today, they make more money than people made back in then, blah, 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 blah. Guess what the minimum wage in Pennsylvania was in 2009? $7.25 an hour. But guess what it is today? $7.25 an hour. It ain't moved. Everything's gotten more fucking expensive. Everything. And then this bitch went on to go and say, oh, well, it's not like we're at war. We're at war. Every day shit gets more expensive. We all just paid tariffs. We paid tariffs that then got refunded to the companies, so the government just gave our tariff money to all the fucking companies. Do we get a discount? No. We're at a war where every other day the president tweets some shit and the gas prices go up. We can't trust our fucking food. We don't know if our job's going to exist
because some weird tech billionaire might build a data center and shut our fucking job down. They have a right to be pessimistic. Everything's fucked.
We're in dire straits. We don't know where we're going to go. We have no savings.
For the past 3 years, Jason Zellman and his family have been living in this modified trailer in Amboy, Washington.
Through COVID and everything, we've paid our rent. We've always paid our rent.
Their landlord just raised their rent from $800 a month to $2,000. That's a 150% increase.
That's ridiculous. And if this place is beautiful view and everything, but it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath modified trailer.
It's sickening. I have a knot in my stomach all the time. This is our life all packed up.
Each day spent in fear of being evicted.
If we hear a car come up the driveway, we're like, who is that? Is that them?
That's so crazy.
Since they can't pay the increased rent and can't find an apartment in their budget.
It's a way to force us out because they know that we can't afford it.
In March, the landlord sent them this notice saying rent will increase to $2,000 a month starting June 1st, along with other warnings, including this 14-day notice to pay rent or vacate and reasonable payment agreements.
Okay, we just got our rent renewal letter in August. It's going to be a year of us living here. And I am completely shocked, okay? Our rent for a 1-bedroom apartment, and I think it's roughly like 750 square feet, is $22.50 a month, okay? To sign another 12-month lease, I'm going to show you. So it has like, I don't want to show you all the address. Okay, so it has the different month terms you can sign. If we do another year, it'll be $23.06. That's only $56 more a month. Do you know how crazy that is? Because usually places will raise your rent like $300+ more a month. And so I was like just mentally preparing for like worst case scenario. I was like $300 to $500 a month more. And I was like, well, if it's that much, I think we could do it. But anything more than that, we'd have to look for a new place probably. $56, okay? And when me and my boyfriend talked about it, we're like, we're re-signing, right? I mean, we always thought we would re-sign. Okay, sorry, I thought I got a work call. But anyways, we loved this location so much, like as soon as we moved in, that we were like, oh, we're definitely staying here at least 2 years, because like who wants to move every year? But then when we got this letter a few days ago, we were like, I mean, $56, of course we're gonna re-sign, but do we want to look at any other places? And so he's like, well, I think I'm like open to it, but like right now we live a block from the metro station. And I was like, okay, it's gonna have to be really close to the metro, like what we have now, because we've just come to rely on the metro a lot, which we didn't do before. It's so convenient. And then also, we're just so close to everything. It's so walkable. So I was like, it has to be like something like this. I was like, honestly, I'm only willing to look at a 2-bedroom in our same building. Like, I love our building. And he was like, well, I'm open to looking like at other places just to compare, blah, blah, blah. So 2 or 3 days go by, and I was like, I don't think I want to look at other places. He's like, me either. Like, you're not going to be...
It's the latest sign of a slowing economy. 23,000 jobs lost last month, the opposite of what experts had predicted. The latest wage data was also disappointing, showing pay hikes aren't keeping up with inflation.
It's gone completely off the cliff, and nobody's doing anything about that. The average person can't afford to go to the grocery store anymore.
I definitely think the fuel is the biggest impact, but I also do think it's temporary.
War-induced high gas prices are averaging just over $4 a gallon nationwide. Inflation has crept up since Trump took office, despite what he said last week.
We have very low inflation. We brought inflation way down.
His top economic advisor, Kevin Hassett, did acknowledge some of the problems on Sunday. But he insisted the employment rate is on the rise in some key sectors. The most recent CBS News poll found voters remain skeptical. 55% said the Republican Party's policies are hurting their cost of living. a concern that is now being echoed by Democratic candidates like Michigan's Abdul El Sayed. He's hoping a focus on affordability will help him win a seat in the U.S. Senate. In an interview late last week, President Trump said GOP voters may be angry with Republicans in Congress, but voters are not angry with him. The distinction may not matter much, however. Voters historically hold the party in the White House responsible for the state of the economy, especially in an election year, Vlad.
Don't buy a house in 2025 if you value your freedom. That's the top reason I get from renters why they don't want to buy a house, because they love the freedom of being able to move where they want, when they want. And an American moves 12 times in their lifetime on average. So it's a valid concern until you dig a little bit deeper. Over 40% of the time when people move, it's for reasons relating to housing. In other words, you're getting evicted or your landlord's raising your rent so much you can't afford to live there anymore. And with landlords raising rent almost every single year by 3 to 5%, I don't blame you. But honestly, who really likes to move? Most of the time people dread it. First of all, you can't get friends to show up to help you, and if you get movers, it costs $2,000. And on top of that, if you have kids, you got to move them into new schools, they have to make new friends. It's not a pleasant experience. Most people want to have a place that they can call home. They want to be able to paint the walls, put up pictures, put up a fence, or get a play structure in the yard. And they only really move because they have to. We are creatures of comfort. Just look at all the people that work from home that could be abroad in Italy or Thailand, but they're still living and working out of the same place they were when they used to have to drive to work. And honestly, just because you own your home doesn't mean you can't move. You could literally rent it out or even sell it if you wanted to. But yeah, if you want your freedom, don't buy a house, I guess.
I'm not even gonna lie, rent so high, I'm about to go pick up a shift at the leasing office. I'm about to cover their Saturdays because rent is about to blow us out the country. I heard that they be getting discounts when they work at the leasing office. If you ask me, a part-time job as a leasing agent don't sound too bad. Because when I think about it, I really was sitting on the most amount of money when I was a resident advisor in college. When I didn't have to pay for room and board, when I tell you that money was so fat, boy, that check, that refund, that money from them jobs was so fat. Don't even get me started. And I just genuinely feel like if you can find a way to finesse and really get ahead by not having to pay for living, ain't no way you ain't balling out. And I get everybody's situation is different. I'm not trying to say that and tell people what they should do or whatever like that. I'm just giving my opinion for all the comments and the internet warriors. But like, think about it. If I could really pull that off, keep my same career, pick up maybe 1 to 2 shifts every now and then at a leasing office and get free or discounted rent.
All right, guys, I'm literally going to start. I'm going to start crying. Surprised I haven't started bawling my eyes out yet. My rent went up. I bet it went up $225. I can't do that. That's crazy. I live in Boston. I live in a studio. I have chosen to live on my own. I'm very aware of the fact that I could have come here and gotten a random roommate and saved more of my money. Knew coming here that I would have to sacrifice some of my financial goals, but I am such a happier person living here in Boston than I was back home in Connecticut. I've found my people, I have a beautiful girlfriend now that I'm here, and like I just love being in Boston, and I've chosen to live by myself all this time. And I could afford it when I came here. My rent started at $17.25, I think, for a studio. I don't know if I mentioned that. This is a studio apartment with $200 parking space. It's not really a space. It's just a spot where I can park my car, and it is very convenient. Then it went up to $18.50 the next year. So I started here in, what year are we in? 2023. So it was $17.25. Then the next year it was $18.50. Then the next year it became, now it's $1,900. This is the third year. Now I just got an email that my rent is going to be $21.25. So I messaged back and just said, hey, I just want to clarify this. Does this include parking? Like what is happening? For, mind you, a studio apartment that I love because I've made it home, but I mean, I don't have a dishwasher. I don't have laundry in unit. I don't have the proper outlets for plugging stuff in. Like, there's all sorts of quirky things with this apartment. I have been feeling more ready to leave this place because I should live in something that's like new. And like, it's not even diva to like want normal things like a dishwasher and like, I don't even need a dishwasher. I've been doing my dishes for like 4 years without a dishwasher. Laundry and unit, like wanting a normal place to park my car, like wanting outlets so it's safe. I can't even like use the appliances that I have. Like I have to use my air fryer on the floor because it does not reach to the outlet in the one outlet in the kitchen. So there are things that I have let pass because when I first moved here, it was just like a quick spot and then I made it home. I love where I live. The T is right here. The bus, it's so easy to get to work. It's so convenient. But I think now it's my time to go over $2,100 for a studio apartment. A studio apartment. Yeah, no, I gotta go. I got my lease renewal today sent to my email, and the numbers that were presented to me made my jaw fall to the ground. And not many things make my jaw fall to the ground quite like this. I live in Channelside, I live in Tampa, I live in a 2-bedroom apartment. So if I want to sign another 12-month long lease, which is the lease term I'm currently on, they are going to raise my rent over $1,000. Now, this is where I want to make sure everyone's sitting down for this number. If I want to go month to month, the rent will be $11,438. One more time, 11,438 USD. One more time, just like so you can like really like $11,438. I don't even know how that number is calculated. It's almost like they pulled it right out of their ass.
You're charging me $1,500 per month for a 2-bedroom apartment, right? I have been here for 1 full year. Okay. I have made every rent payment on time for 12 months straight. Yeah, I got you. Now that my lease is up, in order to re-sign the lease, I now have to accept the fact that rent is going up $200. Right. Meaning I would now be paying $1,700 for the same exact apartment with no upgrades whatsoever. No new dishwasher, no new toilets, no new fridge, no new laundry accessories, none of that. It's the same thing I had for the last 12 months, right? On top of that, you offer new tenants a discounted rate of my initial rent for the same exact apartment. Meaning they would be paying $1,300 for the same apartment that I started paying $1,500 for.
That's just how the pricing works. I mean, I wish I could do something, better for you.
What the fuck you expect us to do? We already don't make enough.
Let me just get my higher up manager in here, please.
What the fuck do you expect us to do? This shit don't make no fucking sense. Fuck you.
My rent is going up almost $300 a month, okay? I'm confused. I'm lost, dumbfounded. Everywhere in my city, everybody going up in apartments, okay? These are just 1 bedrooms. I pay $1,100 a month for 1 bedroom right now. If I resign my lease, it'd be $1,300, okay? Not including maintenance fees, not including all the utilities and all that stuff. When it's all said and done, I'll be spending $1,600, $1,700 to live there, okay? When it's all said and done. My thing is, what do these landlords think we're making out here? Okay? Everybody not making all that kind of money like this. I'm a truck driver. As you can see, I'm in the truck right now. Truck drivers don't get raises, okay? We don't get raises. I barely made enough to make 3 times the rent already. But now it's just going up. I don't know what's going to happen. I make $4 grand a month. I don't know. Well, I make that, but after taxes and all that, you know how that goes. It's about 36, something like that. I won't be able to afford that place anymore where I live at right now. So I got to move. I'm probably considering living in my truck, maybe. Might get a hotel rooms on weekends. If I get a hotels on weekends, I spend $580 a month just for Saturdays and Sundays. That saves me a lot of money, about $1,000 a month, just doing that. Cause I'm gone most of the time anyway. But my big concern is I don't know where these landlords, how they think we out here making all this money to raise the rent that high. We got layoffs going on, and the federal workers are getting laid off, and it just, things gotta change. You know, I refuse to pay that much for one bedroom. So I'm not doing that. I've been looking around my city. A lot of folks moving in the city, so I guess, you know, supply and demand is what raised the prices up. But I've been in my city my whole life, and they trying to push us out. I'd rather be straightforward and say that. We're gonna push everyone that's a native of this city, who's born and raised here. We're gonna push y'all out and want everybody to come in here as they raise prices. I'd rather be straightforward and just say that, okay, than just raising prices and we just all confused, all right? I mean, it's just crazy to me. But I probably might live in my truck, get hotel rooms on the weekends, save a lot of money that way. Cause this year I'm trying to save 20 grand. And a lot of folks can't save $1 grand because they got all the bills, and like I said, rent prices are going up and food prices going up, clothes, everything's going up in America right now. Okay, there's no relief anywhere. It seems like they don't think it'll be a relief anytime soon. So I gotta be prepared, trying to save some money up, because money is king, and I gotta make it happen. What you gotta think about this? This is getting insane. I mean, something gotta give. It really do.